She tried to hide her tail, but I said it was beautiful. The first time I saw her tail, she tried to pretend it wasn't there. It was a quiet afternoon in the small village where I had recently moved, a place tucked between rolling hills and whispering forests. The sun dappled the cobblestone streets in warm gold, and children ran past with laughter trailing behind them. I had wandered to the edge of the marketplace, curious about the scents of fresh bread and roasted herbs, when I saw her sitting on the low stone wall of a fountain, sketchbook balanced on her lap. She was small, delicate, with hair that shimmered like spun silver. But it was the moment her sleeve slipped back that I noticed it, the tip of a tail covered in soft, iridescent fur, curling nervously behind her. Her eyes widened when she realized I had seen it. In an instant she shifted, trying to tuck it under her long coat, as if it were something shameful, something to be hidden from the world. I don't know if you should be here," she said, her voice trembling slightly. Her cheeks were flushed, and her hands fumbled over her sketchbook. I wasn't going to say anything," I replied, though I already had. "It's beautiful." Her eyes froze, disbelief flashing across her delicate features. "Beautiful," she whispered, almost as if she were testing the word. "People usually run, or scream." "I mean it," I said, stepping closer. The sunlight caught her tail again, making it gleam like a river of liquid silver. "It's unlike anything I've ever seen. It suits you." For a long moment she said nothing, her gaze flicking to the fountain, then to the ground, then back to me. Finally, she let out a small, almost inaudible laugh. "You're not scared." "Why would I be?" I asked honestly. "It's extraordinary." "You're extraordinary." Her tail relaxed just a little, the tension in her shoulders easing as she tucked it less rigidly. "Most people, they see it as a mistake, a curse, something to mock," she said quietly. "I've spent my whole life trying to hide it." "Well, I see it," I said softly, "and I think it's part of what makes you amazing." Her lips curved into the faintest smile, and I felt as if I had crossed an invisible boundary. She shifted on the wall, and this time she didn't try to hide the tail. Instead, she wrapped it loosely around her legs, as if testing the waters of trust. Over the next few days, our paths kept crossing. Sometimes I would see her in the forest, sketching the wildflowers, the sunlight catching on her tail as she moved. Other times she appeared at the village market, carrying a basket of fresh bread or a small bundle of herbs. Each time I tried to compliment her, never on her hair or her eyes, but on the tail she had spent years hiding. "You really mean it?" she asked one afternoon, brushing her hair back from her face as we walked along the riverbank. "That it's beautiful?" "Every word," I replied. "I've never seen anything like it. It's alive in a way. Like it carries a part of your soul." She glanced at me, then at the water, and I noticed a flicker of something. Maybe hope, maybe a fragile kind of courage. Slowly, she lifted her skirt just enough to let the tail swing freely behind her. The sunlight painted it in shades of silver and pearl, and it moved with a grace that seemed almost sentient. "Most people wouldn't," she started, then shook her head. "I don't think anyone's ever said that to me before." "Then it's true," I said. "And it's time someone did." That evening, as the sky deepened into twilight, we sat on the hill overlooking the village. She leaned against me, her tail draped across my lap like a living ribbon. The world around us was quiet, except for the soft rustle of leaves and the distant laughter of children. "You've changed something," she said softly. "I don't feel like hiding anymore." "You never have to," I said, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Not from me. Not ever." She looked at me, her eyes shimmering in the fading light, and for the first time, I saw a fierce kind of pride in the way she held herself. The tail, once a symbol of shame, now felt like a banner of who she truly was. And I realized in that moment that beauty wasn't just in the things people celebrated, it was in the things they tried to hide. By the time the stars began to appear, her tail was fully visible, curling and flicking with joy. She laughed softly, a sound like wind through the trees, and I knew that this was more than acceptance. It was liberation. "I never thought I'd feel this free," she said. "Maybe it just needed someone to tell the truth," I replied. "That it's beautiful. That you are beautiful." Her tail brushed against my hand, warm and soft. She smiled, truly smiled, for the first time in a long time, and I knew we had crossed the threshold from secrecy to trust. The night wrapped around us like a gentle promise, and I realized that sometimes the most extraordinary things are the ones people try to hide. And sometimes all it takes is one person brave enough to say the truth. By the time the sun dipped behind the hills, painting the sky in shades of rose and gold, she finally stopped trying to hide her tail. It curled and flicked behind her, shimmering like liquid silver in the fading light. I reached out, and she let it brush against my hand, a quiet, almost imperceptible gesture, yet full of trust. "I never thought I'd feel this free," she admitted softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "You shouldn't have to hide who you are," I replied. "It's beautiful, and so are you." Her eyes, once filled with hesitation and fear, now gleamed with something entirely new. Pride, courage, and a hint of joy she hadn't let herself feel in years. She laughed softly, a sound like wind rustling through the trees, and I realized that the tail she had spent her life hiding was never a flaw. It was a part of her, something extraordinary. "I've always been scared people would reject me," she murmured. "But you see me differently. And I always will," I said, smiling. "You don't have to hide. Not from me. Not ever." For the first time she leaned back, letting the tail move freely, curling and stretching with life and grace. The world around us seemed to pause, the soft rustle of leaves, the distant laughter of children, all fading into the quiet certainty that she was finally embracing herself. I think I'm ready," she said, eyes shining, "to stop hiding." And in that moment, under the twilight sky, it wasn't just a tail that was set free. It was her spirit, her heart, and the beautiful truth she had carried alone for far too long. She smiled at me, radiant and unafraid, and I knew one simple truth. Sometimes the most extraordinary beauty is the part we've tried the hardest to hide.